He's got a wheel. It's like a bloody B&Q warehouse when he's doing it.
It didn't say that you couldn't get Ben Fogle to shout it. How long did Hugh keep the basketball on the treadmill?
It stayed on there 4 months until it stopped.
When you put 5 comedians into a room, the results are quite often going to be bizarre. Some in a good way, some in a bad way, but a very distinct few are going to completely hack the game. What's a more fitting start than the start to the entire franchise? Series 1 was absolutely barbaric, such as...
Clearly you're not meant to look inside. It's rude
Thank you.
It is rude to look... I don't know, Josh.
But one of the most underrated Taskmaster contestants, in my opinion, is Tim Key. Tim was the pioneer for trying his hardest to outplay the system. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes it involved literally lying about charity.
Excuse me. I'm doing shooting a TV show for Comic Relief.
But in the episode 3, he was stirring up an entirely new racket. This task was to get a tea bag and a mug from the longest distance. Now this is series 1, so I am willing to cut the contestants some slack. Except what Roisin did.
It's the longest part of the house.
Even the person whose first question was, what's the longest part of the house, realised quickly that she had to wet it.
Now Frank had a pretty smart idea involving quickly murdering a cardboard box and using its remains to funnel the tea bag into the mug, giving him the best distance. Until Tim arrived. Tim ordered an entire Argos catalogue of items for his attempt. He then stuffed a tea bag into his tennis ball, got a dog launcher, dug up half of the garden, stapled a sheet to the fence, and set the mug into the perfect spot. With only a single shot, he scored an insane 23 metres, and debatably pulled off the first ever successful Taskmaster challenge hack by creating so many variables that made the tea bag hit the mug. So while I like Skinner's rendition, I have nothing but love for Tim's challenge hack. I should probably stop with the tennis buns, huh? Instead, I'm going to the 5th episode in Series 3, which was a few years ahead on the whole social distancing thing.
Who's that? Who is it? I don't know. Who are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
Nevertheless, this challenge involved miming the names of books to those on the other side of the lake, where they had to guess correctly. And if you wonder what I'm guessing, it's that you're going to subscribe. So don't let me down and hit it right now. Nonetheless, this was a team task involving the trio of Al, Dave and Paul versus the mind-blowing duo of Sarah and Rob. For anyone that's thinking I'm being too harsh on the brother and sister team, need I remind you, this is how the task went for them.
Plane! How am I supposed to do this on plane? I can't hear what she's saying!
You gotta make it big! Football! There's football in it!
Evidently we'll be going to the trio for this challenge hack, but more specifically Dave Gorman. Much like Tim Key, Dave Gorman had a tendency of breaking the rules like in the literal previous challenge.
Have you cheated?
Right, yeah, well, we did film it.
However, his ideas to get a leg up on the other competition wasn't in vain and developed into an ingenious challenge hack that also required a little bit of luck. Midway through his miming, Dave noticed a small group of individuals by the lakeside, and what he did was pure genius.
I'm doing a thing where I'm not allowed to raise my voice, but you're not me. If you were to shout across that river your words, the lion, the witch and the wardrobe.
Instead of being forced to mime, Dave passed the cue card to someone else, who then read them aloud. One by one, the team rack up the score simply by repeating what they hear. Until back at the studio, they completely blow Rob and Sarah out of the water with a 5-0 win. It's also funny this wasn't just anybody that Dave got to scream out his cards, may I add. It was actually English broadcaster Ben Fogle, who by coincidence had been filming there that day. We've done tennis, water sports, so why not basketball? In Series 4 Episode 2, the contestants had some prep time before they have to prevent a basketball from rolling off a moving treadmill Alex was about to start. They also couldn't touch the basketball or treadmill. I'm sure none of the contestants did this activity as a pastime, so almost all of the attempts were instant failures.
2, 1.
Oh no!
Enter Hugh. Hugh, without a doubt, is the most underscored Taskmaster contestant ever, and he constantly got last place in the prize task. So even though the tasks are filmed before the prize tasks, I like to think retrospectively Hugh got justice for his low scores by hacking the game. Instead of coming up with ludicrous ideas like this,
I thought I could blow this. You know how you keep a ping pong ball up in the air?
I do.
Hugh went for something completely out of the box. A tub. Hugh wandered into the kitchen, got a basin and sat back as it perfectly encapsulated the rolling basketball. Eventually Hugh was suffering from success, and he got so tired that he broke the task even more.
Could you pass me the plug?
Who's plugged into that, Hugh?
Yep, Hugh asked for the plug, pulled it out, killed the entire treadmill, and according to Alex Horn, the basketball remained there for an entire 4 months until a storm knocked it over. In spite of some people not enjoying the more simplistic tasks on Taskmaster, I really enjoy them as they're essentially this massive sandbox for contestants, allowing them to dig deep to find success. It's been a small while since we talked about contestants absolutely destroying the garden, so let's get to one of the worst offenders in Series 7's Rob Gilbert. In Episode 2, the contestants had to get a golf ball from the starting area to the hole, located in the garden, in the fewest shots. Needless to say, some of the attempts were what you would expect from a group of comedians, randomly told to play golf. Now Phil deserves some credit for using an assortment of long goods to guide the ball towards the hole. I would also like to congratulate Jess on her method of trying to funnel the ball into the hole, although it honestly seemed to do more harm than good.
Aids?
That is unfortunate.
But Rhod invents a technique no one else really seemed to think of, and instead guides the ball by actively bringing the hole to him. Jessica's reaction kind of explains it all. Rhod digs up a chunk of the garden, fills it into the mat, and drags it up to the starting area. He then assembled this Frankenstein hole with chunks of earth, and used part of the pipe to funnel the ball in, thus creating a hole in one. For once, Greg didn't have much to comment on. It was just a straightforward challenge hack that resulted in Rob being the easy winner of this round. Considering the contestants couldn't touch the ball, it was Rod's best bet in my opinion. But in regards to challenge hacks on this list, the last one comes from Series 13, which is more recent in the Taskmaster catalogue. This challenge was simple: record the highest number on a pedometer. However, this was halfway into the series, so the contestants knew they would have to hit this challenge with some ingenuity. And oh boy, they did. Chris went for the most conventional strategy of shaking it. Mind you, he nearly had a heat stroke while doing it. And then Ardal attached it to a bike. Then on the other end of the spectrum, we had Judy and Sophie.
408, I am so pissed off.
Sophie honestly had a pretty ingenious strategy of spinning the pedometer on a power drill, which flew off at points, nearly killing Alex, but I mean, near-death experiences are weirdly consistent for him on this show. Judy in Series 13 was an absolute wildcard, with some ideas ranging from very smart to borderline insane. So it was no surprise when Judy requested this.
A dog, can you get me a little puppy? Put it on the puppy can run up and down.
I can get you a rat.
I don't want a rat. What kind of rat?
A remote control rat.
Yes!
In fear of not having the show assaulted by PETA by forcing a pedometer onto a puppy, Alex instead offers up this closest alternative in a remote controlled toy rat. But the toy rat idea fails, and so we currently have Judy, Ardal, Sophie and Chris on the scoreboard. Got that? Okay. Now it's time for Bridget. I don't know where they find Bridget Christie, but she has the most unhinged energy out of any contestant ever on Taskmaster, and honestly I love her for it.
But you haven't taken any normal steps.
Oh my god!
That's it.
Bridget's steps were so ridiculous even Greg had to immediately mock her, but out of this merry group of 5, she was the only one to actually find out the challenge hack. You see, on the task, the contestants had to record the highest number on a pedometer. So Bridget, after trying to travel 3 feet horizontally in a step, eventually takes the pedometer off, sits on it and recalls the highest number she knows.
11 trillion gazillion.
Okay,
Now, gazillion's not a number, but 11 trillion is. Ultimately, despite only recording 139 steps, Bridget actually beats everyone's attempted challenge hacks by technically having over 11 trillion. A lot of people talk about thinking smarter, not harder, and I feel like this perfectly sums up Bridget's attempt. Was it simple in hindsight? Yes, but she obviously outplayed the system. I think my favourite part of this challenge, though, comes from Judy being pissed off and Chris's interjection at the end.
I got beaten by someone recording a number.
You got beaten by everyone.
Thanks for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed, and peace!